Well, good evening and welcome to the first edition for the 2024-25 season of the Island Stats Football Show. I'm your host, Earl Basin, and joining me is none other than Garrett Punchy Dill. Well, Punchy, we're in week 2 of football in the league. We've had some very interesting and entertaining Dudley Eve matches take place. But let's take a look at the results from week 2. We start with the Friday night match that took place between Devonshire Colts and Devonshire Cougars. At the Den, it was Devonshire Cougars 1, Devonshire Colts 3. And then yesterday in the Premier Division at Lymington Oval, it was Hamilton Parish 1, Paget Lions 4. And then staying in the Premier Division, today it was PHC Zebras 1, Wolves 2, Dennytown Hornets 0, North Village Rams 1, Young Man's Country Club 1, St. George's Colts 3. And then in the lone first division match of the weekend, it was St. David's 3, Southampton Rangers 1. And then the other news for the first division is that BAA have withdrawn from the first division league. And we'll get to that later in the show. But Punchy, let's jump to that Friday night the Friday night game between Devonshire Colts and Devonshire Cougars. Devonshire Colts have not lost a league match between the first division last season and the Premier Division this season, counting now 20 games.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, the Colts having a great start to the season. I'm sure that I'm hoping that this continues. But I think what I haven't seen them play out, but you could tell that with the results, first of all, the scoring goals, and they're doing pretty good in terms of defending goals. Still, not a whole lot of goals been scored against them. But it's it's the beginning of the season, and I'm very happy that they're back up there, and it kind of gives us a new look at the league, now with Colts, winning the games that they've won, and I think they're gonna be okay. As I always say, when you first come up and promoted, it's very important to get get good points for the first 3 games under your belt, especially, whether it's a draw or to win. And I think they're on the right path. I don't see them. I see, with the mentality, they have a young squad. And, with Ray, he's been around those guys for a while. So it's a good start for him, Earl.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, if you look at it, they got into a groove in the Dudley Eve, and now things are coming to the fore. I mean, in the first week, they defeated Hamilton Parish 4-1.
That's right.
And that's their opponents for the Dudley Eve semifinal. So, makes that semifinal very interesting. And the fact that Devonshire Colts now have 6 points to start the season. And like you said, they're scoring goals. They scored 7 goals, conceded 2.
That's right. That's a very important. And that's, I think, again, getting back to them, and if you look at Northern a semifinal, that's good momentum for them. Very good momentum for them. Yeah,
definitely. I mean, when we start talking about a new team, still young, but when I say young, they're growing together. So they might be young in age, but they're not so young in playing together, which I think has been a benefit for them over the years. They've had 1 or 2 players go away but come back now. So,
Yeah, it's a replica of what PHC's been doing. I think guys been playing together for years. Young players. So and again, I think as the coach, he's going to definitely do his own work. Yeah. He thrives on stuff like this. He thrives on his ability to be able to outcoach coaches or outplay teams, and I think, like I said, a lot of people that I've spoken with about him, that they look attractive. They look, and I guess it's, again, I'm happy for him. I'm happy for the league itself having Devonshire Colts, because that's a very good having Davis Coates back in the league is really, really good.
Yeah, definitely. Now let's turn our attention to yesterday at the Wellington Oval, where Paget Lions defeated Hamilton Parish 4-1. Parish started the Dudley Eve doing really, really well, but their last few results have not gone their way. What do you think could be the problem there?
Well, at Parish, well, they had let's say the first game of the season, or the second game, they beat PHC. Am I correct? Right?
Yes, they did. Yeah.
Yes, they did, and they done right. I think what's happening there is the numbers. I think they've got a few injuries, and from what I was told yesterday, there were only like maybe 12 or 13 players all in all, and so they look to be in a little bit of problems right now that they're having. Look what they're, you beat PHC, then you turn around and you lose 2 games after that. So that could be a cause for concern for Coach Sergio. And there's rumblings. I've heard some talk. Some of the players might not be happy. But my thing with Hamilton Parish is that, again, so well last year, they got into semifinals, and this part, which is so important, I thought they had started building a real good program there, and they should have recruited more players. So I think that's the problem there also, Earl. Having a consistent 11 or 12, 14 guys to pick out of. And I don't think they have that.
Yeah, I mean, if Sergio can get, like you say, a consistent group of players week in and week out, I think it's early in the season, they can turn it around and get the boost they need. I think with the next within their next few games, they're going to need something positive coming out of it to increase morale. As we know, when teams start to face defeats, the morale starts to go, and players stop coming training, and everything. Fingers start getting pointed and so forth. And hopefully, Hamilton Parish can avoid that. Because I think, like they used the program looked like it was on the way to recovery. And
that's what exactly. I think this is the 3rd or 4th year up there now. I just, it's a shame because I just think they, like you said, rebuilding their footballing program. They started also, they have a real junior program now, the youngsters down there. So that what they're trying to do, the under 9s, under 7s, under 10s. So they have the numbers there for the youngsters, but he doesn't have it at the senior level. I would have hoped that Sergio would have been out and did some more recruiting. That's what I would have hoped.
Yeah, I mean, this early in the season, a concern for numbers is got to be a big thing for him.
Yes, for sure. And with getting having injuries.
Yeah.
And now it's probably quite concerning for Sergio. Who I think has done a fine job with the people that he have. I think he's done a great job thus far.
Yeah. So, let's see.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. Well, yeah, they don't have a youth program anymore.
Oh, they don't. Oh, I thought. Okay.
They used to have a very vibrant one over the years, but that seems to have moved away. Don't know why, but I guess we're hoping that they can revive it and bring it back, because it did feed into that senior program, and that's what kept that going, even through the hard times.
Yeah, I think, again, with Hamilton Parish, again, recruitment. They have a very good following, they have a very good following, people back the club. And it's kind of, like I said, about that. Once, even if you, like the summertime, trying to get players now to come to play for Hamilton Parish, or and so it's Sergio's got his work cut out for him. Can he still recruit? Because there is a time that you could still be somebody who might be interested in playing for you who haven't played for someone else. So I call that recruitment, just like some other clubs do. I hope for them, especially with the following. And they have some real quality players that they do, I'm sure they'll come. I'm sure they will remain in this division.
Definitely. Let's hope they can recover.
Yes.
Let's go to today's match up at the PHC Stadium. 5-2 at halftime, and then PHC went on to score 6 more goals to defeat Wolves 11-2. Clearly, Wolves were outmatched in this game. It'll be a test for them. They had a little rough patch in the Dudley Eve. They've had a rough start to the season, but they have a very inexperienced team for this Premier Division, and it's going to take some hard work for them and a bit of luck for them to come on the right side of this the 11-2 early in the season like this. It's a lot of work to do.
Oh yeah, for sure. I saw them play out Devonshire Rec last week against PHC when they lost 2-1. They had PHC under some pressure too. They was quite pleased. They were a bit pleased to the eye, but the thing that I've seen about with Wolves again is quality and numbers. You can have numbers, but it's got to be quality. Mm-hmm. Now I been watching them, and they had PHC on some trouble at the time, but it was 10 minutes left. They didn't close the game out because it could have ended up 1-1. One ball to the top, and in the later stage of the game, and it was 2-1. They lost 2-1.
Yeah.
But they need work, and hopefully they need his young coach. I forget his name. This young coach, his first year.
Marcel.
Marcel. That's it. Yes, that's right. And I at times when I watched them against PAC that night out Devonshire, I thought, there's something good up there. What they do lack is they have these 2 strikers that were playing, and I thought they were inexperienced. I thought there was inexperience there. And so what happens is when you're not scoring as usual, you're not scoring goals, you're letting them in. And if you start letting them in like that, the heads start dropping. And I did mention this last year. Once these teams like Wolves come up, right? Mm-hmm. And they might have the numbers. You go down LA, you see numbers. Yeah. But do they have the quality at this level to sustain themselves?
Yeah, that's been the concern. I mean, for us over the last few years, because we saw that they were capable of matching any first division team on their given day through sheer numbers and the quality and what they had in the first division. But this pace here in the Premier Division is going to be a lot quicker. The thought process has to be a lot faster. The reaction time has to be a lot faster, and today just wasn't that day for them. They matched a defending champions in the Premier Division, PHC, at home. Their season opener and 11 goals. How do you drive back from Warwick to Devonshire thinking about 11 goals conceded?
Yeah,
and you got to think of your very next match and who do you play and what form are they in, and because it doesn't get any easier. Trust me, it doesn't get any easier.
No, Earl, it doesn't get any easier when you concede 11 goals in this division.
Yeah.
Who would they get next? Would it be North Village? Would it be Denby Town? So they for me and what I saw, Earl, like I said, his young coach, the seniority in the team. When I look around at the seniority in their team and experience at this level, it's not a whole lot of them. So, I thought Troy Tucker might have been playing for him, but maybe he stopped playing altogether. But they definitely need the problem. They have a lack of quality. That's right. What I think. Yeah, and that's going to be the problem. They quality at the back.
Yeah.
Organization is going to be a lot better organized defensively also. Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Well, the Premier teams have 2 weeks off because of the international break, but they'll have a chance to work on it. And then Wolves' next matches against Social Club. So we'll have to see how that materializes.
Oh, wow. That's going to be interesting. Yeah. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
Well, let's take our first commercial break. And when we come back, we'll talk about the other 2 Premier Division games and the lone first division game of the weekend. We'll be right back.
Okay.
For generations, John Barrett & Sons has been a part of our family's table, and now they're bringing something new for yours. Discover Wonder Juice at Lindo's, a refreshing organic burst of flavor delivered with the same care Barrett's has given Bermuda for over 150 years. Cold pressed, pure, and full of nutrients, just like the fresh fruit juices we grew up loving. From Wonder Melon to Wonder Beet, it's that familiar Barrett's touch, now with a wholesome twist. Lindo's, why go anyplace else?
Beneath the cloud blue sky, where the ocean meets the land, and the long-tails fly in Bermuda. Our hearts belong to this beautiful island. As an island, we are strong, proudly Bermudian. In every single way, from the sunrise to the sunset, and every single day for over 135 years. It's been clear, it's silence, proudly Bermudian. Bringing us near. Cause we are proudly Bermudian. Digital is proudly Bermudian. Digital is proudly Bermudian.
And welcome back. Well, Punchy, out at BAA Field, it was the Dandytown Hornets 0, North Village Rams 1. North Village recovered from that defeat in the first match of the season in the league, bouncing back to defeat neighbors Dandytown. But still, that defeat last week had to take its toll on the players. What do you think?
Yeah, because I have a lot of contact with the players and the coaching staff, and my nephew is on board, and I think it's going to be wonderful for us. But the turnaround, I didn't go to the game and they lost the social club because I would say, oh well, that should be on our belt,
right?
And that was shocking. What I got from the people that attended were like they were very complacent. I don't know, they took social club for granted.
Uh-huh.
There was no, they're making excuses about Terrence, but the goalkeeping department. But today was a complete turnaround, and I got to give coaching staff, applaud the coaching staff. They were very focused today. And Northwest has a senior team. As a senior team, we have these two youngsters, because we still a lot of our young players leave the island early and go away. Are good players. A lot of go to school or in England. But what I saw today was application by North Village, applying themselves. Very happy with this few additions to the team. I've got to say also, Earl, I watched Trey Mendes today, and he's him and Judo Chapman, welcome additions to, and Jonte, welcome additions to North Village. Mm-hmm. What I like about Trey, and I had never really seen him play football that much, because I think he was with Tom.
Yeah, he was with them.
He's very focused. His position, he plays a deep center line midfielder. Mm-hmm. He doesn't give the ball away much. He recovers good. His attention, his attention span is good. And I was like, whoa, this guy fits in. He reminds me of a lot of players that play in that position that were good, and he has the quality there. And I was really impressed. Chapman, Judah, playing with Jonte, that combination looks like it's working. I think with Jonte was a little bit injured today. You could tell he's struggling a little bit, but there's that combination and adding Jai Pitt to that. I think it'll only get better. I think when I look at Judah, he carrying a little injury, but if he stays in shape, if he gets himself in better shape, he can score a lot of goals. And they play him off. The role that he plays behind the striker. And what happens with Jai Pitt, who's number 10, he plays all for both of them, which is a good combination. Right. Today, they decided the seniority, which is most important to play against Tom, with Jonte as a target man. And, he just does a lot of things correctly, simple, and he's not that quick, but he's very smart, So Norfolk is really, with all, I'm sure about losing to Social Club 3-1, they turned it around today. Really good. I was very impressed. And about Terrence Free, I got to applaud him also. Terrence Fraze, like Trey Me, these type of players like my cousin Pierre Smith, who if you ask him to play the position, he's going to play.
Yeah.
And he's done pretty well.
What's the deal with the goalkeeping? I mean, you have well, obviously D-Tray, and then also on the books last season, I'm not sure if he's throwing in the gloves, Taj Bell.
Taj Bell, yes, Taj. I don't know what's happening with Taj. Maybe his work commitments. I don't really know what's going on with that. I'm gonna have to ask people about that, But as of now, Terrence Frey, I'm saying to you, man, somebody saves today. His distribution, it was really, really remarkable to see him. His quality. I'll give him MVP of the match for North Village. He's up. So North Village again. I think with the seniority in the team, the organization, having my nephew back on board, he brings a lot of calmness and organization. I know my nephew along with Kenny.
Right.
It's a welcome addition. You could see it.
Yeah. Then the final Premier Division match of the weekend saw St. George's Colts defeat Young Man Social Club 3-1 at Police Field. Both teams looking to continue, somewhat in vain. St. George's won with Devin Stugars in their first game. Social Club had that big win over North Village, so they would have been coming out, chest stuck out, and we're in the semifinals. So, but unfortunately today wasn't their day. They ran into a hard-running St. George's team. So, lessons learned for both teams early in the season. St. George's still got some ways to go. They I guess they want to retain that FA Cup that they won at the end of last season, and they're going to want to finish a lot better than they did last season in their fourth place. Any place above that is a good place. Any place below that is not so good. But new coaching staff, different look St. George's. Your thoughts on that East End team this year?
I think, of course, it's a young coach, Andrew's son.
Yes.
But I'm sure he must be getting advice from his father or from his uncle Herbie. I'm not sure. But when I saw them out there at Devonshire Rec that night, and they were 1-1 against Cougars, I believe.
Yeah.
I wasn't really impressed. I thought they looked a little bit, maybe it's the beginning of the season. They look a little bit jaded, But and then I saw him on the bench, and I looked at the bench, and I think that was also the time that was a cricket match going on in St. George's up in the Northfield. Not that I'm making that excuse for him, but I said when I looked at him, I was like, "Well, they need a little bit of work. They need to step up on the things that they were doing correctly." And they, I wasn't really impressed in that game, and I don't think, from what I heard, they weren't really too worried about. I think there's a Dudley Eve. I don't think they were worried about that result. I think the main thing must be attention to the FA, retain the FA or the league. Right. But it seems to me that I would expect that result today against Social Club. No, I mean, I just thought that, well, when I saw that matchup, I was like, St. George should win this game. And don't forget the whole brothers, I think, are back playing, I do believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, so quality. They still have quality, even though without Jonte.
Yeah.
So they have quality.
Jared Richardson has joined.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, yeah. Now for Social Club, you beat a powerhouse in North Village one week, and then you lose to St. George's Colts the next week. You got 2 weeks off. What are the things you worry about looking to ensure or improve? You've given up 4 goals. You scored 5. What do you work on in the next 2 weeks?
I think, again, I haven't seen them play, but, when I watched them play last year, the fight, they were very physical. They were straightforward. If the coach can improve on that, right, maybe the physical conditioning might need to be stepped up more. The other thing about, again, if you got 2 weeks off, you're giving up that many goals. How do you need to work on that also? That's going to be a real test for Social Club this year, because now you got Tout, I don't think it's gonna be easy game between that game between Wolves and Social Club is gonna be
Yeah,
a difficult game for them also.
sure.
You know, so yeah, Social Club. It's for me what they did last year. They managed to stay up. I don't know who they recruited, but my point is that if they can, okay, they lost today. How can they rebound? And they have to put in a lot more physical work, I think, and which I think they should. And hard work, making sure that you keep if you can score and you score goals, you can score one or two goals and defend really well, then that's what your recipe should be for the year.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
what I
They
yeah,
should
I
be
think so.
a lot,
Yeah.
organized. Yeah,
Correct. Yeah, that's what you were saying. I always said, or like I said last year, when you first get these teams, be hard to beat, be
yeah,
organized, be hard to beat. And
yeah,
I think the mentality sometimes here is just win at all costs.
yeah,
Win at all costs, but sometimes it's okay that you come out of you if you play two games and it's 1-1, then you beat a team like North Village. What did you do well? Did North Village play bad that night? Were they just not at the best? Or were you better than them in certain departments? And I think Social Club, from what I heard, they have quick center forward. They one of the point I'm getting back to is that they have to really put the work in
right.
and physically organize, be hard to beat.
Yeah,
Even if you're a physical team, yeah, you don't get that much room against Social Club. You work hard, and I think that would be for me a recipe for them to remain in this division.
yeah, yeah. And let's quickly, before we go to Mark Wade, let's quickly talk about that lone first division match.
Uh-huh.
St. David's 3, Southampton Rangers 1. So St. David's have won their first two matches, led by Keishan Bean. He got 2 goals for him last week, another 2 goals for them this week, defeating Southampton Rangers. And, St. David's are looking good early in the season.
Yeah, they really are. I think with Keishan there, and Keishan's a player and a teacher on the
Right.
field. He has a good personality. He's in the right team for doing that.
Right.
He lives in that area, so I applaud him. And he's still quality. Like if you were to put Ralph Gumbo Bean for 30 minutes on the field, his quality.
Yeah.
So St. David, that's a bonus for St. David's. Now, what would happen when they've come up against the teams like Somerset and they had to play away from home? So that would be my problem for them. And what are they looking to do? Are they looking just to build, or are they looking for promotion?
Yeah.
That's a question that I would think. But again, I'm glad for the program.
Yeah.
I'm glad for the program. Really am.
Definitely. Congratulations, St. David's. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I talked to some of the guys because my coach down there. I said, so what do you guys, what does the future look like? He says, well, we want to sustain ourselves. We've got a little junior program, and we just want to represent ourselves better at St. David's in the football aspect. I said, okay. Yeah, in the football aspect. I said, okay, that sounds, you're being realistic. Even if you're not looking for promotion,
Right.
you're gonna really put up a good show, and I think that's what. And again, getting back to Keishan Bean is a welcome addition, I'm sure.
Definitely. Well, we're going to bring in the president of the Bermuda Football Association, Mr. Mark Wade. Mr. Wade, first of all, good evening. Welcome.
Hey, good evening. Good evening, everybody. Good evening, Legend. And
Thank
good
you,
evening,
Mr.
Earl.
President.
Well,
much.
Mr. Wade, we have international break coming up with Bermuda hosting 4 matches, if I'm correct. Yeah, 4 matches at the National Sports Center. How are things from the administration side looking in anticipation of these upcoming matches?
Well, I mean, we'll gear it up for these matches. The change in format is a blessing for us, a blessing for the players. So we're prepared to host these double headers, so to speak. we're just putting the final touches on what's required between ourselves, the National Sports Center, security, etc., ticket sales, obviously. So we're geared up and we're ready. We're excited.
Hey, Mark. Yes, I'm glad that the tournament's what's happening here now. I'm very happy that we're getting international matches and quite a bit too. It's
Yep.
quite a bit. The addition of Nikki Wells, that must be a tremendous boost for the team. Am I correct? Because if it's back here, it's going to be a lot of people. He just adds to the quality in the team. What
Yeah,
made him change his mind?
well, I think he had always, stated that, he was only just taking a step back. I think really it was about him solidifying his contracts, solidifying his relationship with Bristol City, which we're always supportive of. But he never said that that was it for him at the international level. So we're happy to have him back involved. And to be honest, it's not just what he brings on the pitch; it's the professionalism, the way he goes about his day, the way he behaves in and around the team, in and around the hotel. His game preparation. He's an example to everyone. And I think, those are some of the other things that, maybe fans are not aware of or wouldn't see that bring a benefit to the team as a whole.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. The other question I'd like to ask Mark is that the addition of the Bermuda players that are in the national team that are not playing overseas, because like Jamaica, you've seen Mason Greenwood about to join the Jamaican national team. So do you agree that with a lot of our players, 75% of the players that play in the national program playing overseas, has it really helped us? Has it helped us? Do you think with the results, should our results be better?
Yes, it's helped us. It's also a challenge sometimes because we want to support the players' professional aspirations. And sometimes we have to manage the conflicts between the national team and their club commitments. And I think so far, I think the coaching staff have done a fairly good job in managing that. And we just look forward to having them available, in crucial times like now. The addition of local-based players is also important, and you'll find that the coaching staff are casting their eye on local-based players. There are some who have been included this time around, even to just be a part of the camp. So the players will start training tomorrow, but there are some local players who have been invited to the camp, and just so that the coaches can have a better and closer, I would say, a closer look at some local players as well.
Mm-hmm. So,
Mark, I know you're not part of the selection committee and all of that, but one of the questions that has been bantered around since Mr. Finley has been the coach is the lack of players from the league champions PHC included in the squad. What are those talks like? Only because there's a lot of people out there saying, how could you win the league and not have anyone, from the league champions who have dominated, part of the national setup.
So it's not a foreign concept, right? And this happens globally. But I will say there have been PAC players that have been part of the national setup. There were at least two that traveled the last time, where the coaches have had a closer look at them, and to be honest, the door is never closed on anyone, and the coaches will always have a door open. One of the things that the public may or may not be aware of, there's always a list of players outside of what you see that the coaches will have in their roster, so to speak. And so, it's not just PHC players. There's a number of local based players who are in that list, who the coaches will say, at any one time, they will call on these players. So it's while it may look that way, certainly there have been PHC players and others who are locally based, who are actually have been a part of the setup. They have traveled, they have been invited. Sometimes players are unavailable for local based reasons, employment, etc. But they're always in the shop window, so to speak, and the coaching staff is always looking at local based players.
Yeah. So
Mark, I'm sorry,
explain
Dan.
to people how this works real quick. So matches at 2:30, and then a match is at 7:30.
Mhm.
Does 2:30 ticket get you into the 7:30 game?
Correct. Yes.
Wow. Okay, that's good.
I mean,
Mark,
we obviously like to have fans at the 2:30 match, right? We don't want to empty stadium, even though Bermuda is not playing. So we thought it was important to be able to, make it a little easier for fans to see both matches.
good point. Yep, very good. Mark, the question about goalkeeping. What is the situation still with Nathan Trott? He's still eligible to play for this country. Am I correct?
He is, because he hasn't had a senior match with the English FA. So he's still eligible to play for Bermuda. I know that coach has had discussions with him. I know that coach has actually been out to visit him and have a face-to-face meeting with him as well. So the door is still open. And we welcome Nathan with open arms. So I can only say that, not only is Nathan one of the players that we're looking at, there are others as well who, for one reason or another, haven't made themselves available. But I know that the coaching staff have been in contact with those players and continue to be in contact with those players, and we're really just waiting on them, to so to speak, right?
I got you with that. The other thing I want to ask you, which it's been a while now, well, a couple of weeks or 3 weeks when the on the 14s, their success, and the country was watching. There's a lot of people watching, and very, very happy about the results and how the result was achieved to reach the final, even though they lost on penalties. The coaching staff there, I know they're young, but I saw a lot of good stuff. Most people said they saw a lot. They were very surprised at the quality that we have at that age. So do you think, are we on the right path? Or do you think there's still maybe at that level on the 14s, we need maybe another? Are you happy with the coaching staff at that level, at the national level?
Sure. I would say that the proof is in the pudding. If you watch that team play, the results are one thing, but if you watch the way they played, the way they approached the match, that's going to be down to some of the work that the coaching staff have done. So at this point, we're happy with the actual entire program. So those players would start at under 14 Challenge Series next year. They'll go into the under 15 CONCACAF Championships, and that same group would then turn around and prepare for the under 17 World Cup qualifiers. So in terms of a joined up program, I think we're in a good space. One of the things that we do have on the island now is we are part of the FIFA talent development program, and we actually have a FIFA coach who's actually on island with us now, who will even help to look for areas of improvement. One of the things that we like to say is that we're always looking to improve, and we're never satisfied. So this is one of the areas where we're looking for, maybe some international experience that will help the coaches to develop as well as the players.
Yeah.
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 On a note, especially international football, and so much other football going on. Does the association have any concern about the amount of league play and international play that we have now? I know we've always been crying for more international play, but now it's like it's continuing, an ongoing, continuing thing. Have any of the clubs expressed concern? Because we hear it everywhere else around the world, especially professionally, about the amount of international play.
No concerns as yet. Not as yet. I think right now we have got a pretty good balance, and I think also from a scheduling perspective, we're able to adjust. Not always without angst, but
Yes.
we have been able to adjust. And I think for now, I think we're in a good space. Um, we know that we have to prepare for September, October, November every year. And the competitions committee led by Shannon Burgess, always has that in their in their eye, for lack of a better word. In addition to that, they know that they have to plan for Rhode Island FC, for example, those types of tours, and they know they have to plan for the March window, and they know they have to plan for the June window. So right now, I think we're in a really good space. We're not in the same sort of space as the EPL, where you've got Europa League, you've got Champions League, you've got international friendlies. We're not in that space yet. Club World Cup, we're not actually in that space yet. So we're doing a really good job, I think, of balancing.
Yeah. And staying on that, have we looked at, because we have a 4-year window to qualify for the next Olympics in Los Angeles, I think it is.
Yeah, the Olympics is a different kettle of fish. The qualification for the Olympics is through the under-20 World Cup qualifiers.
Yes.
So that's kind of moved the goalpost on us a little bit, because previously there was qualification through Pan Am or CAC games.
Yes.
But now it's moved to the under-20 championship, which is another difficult pathway for us, because again, we're going to be competing with players who are actually in the professional environment. So even at under-20, most of those players will be in professional environments.
Yeah.
I would say. I would say, Mark, also the World Cup qualifiers. So you've got, I'm sure that's in your mind, because when you're talking about 2 years from now, am I correct?
Yes.
Yes.
So we didn't do ourselves any favors without getting a good result in last June. But we're still in the mix. And come June 2025, we've got 2 matches that if we do well, we're still in with a shot of moving on to the next phase.
Yeah. Yeah. So I would think I do believe that these games coming up are good preparation.
Excellent preparation.
Yeah. Which the country has been screaming for. Yes. So we have a lot of it. And what's most important that I think, when I have the talk, is the results.
Yes.
Which I'm sure that's what, of course, your coaching staff will always talk about too. But have some of the results, like the last game we played when we lost to Dominican Republic, I think, right? That result. You said we could have won that game or we could have drawn the game. So these particular games are very important for us in terms of the result category. Am I correct?
Yeah, I mean, sure. When you think of it, it's like any league play, right? Where you've got an opportunity to build on something, right? So we've had 6. We'll have 6 matches by the time we get to November. Sorry, by the time we get to December, we'll have had 6 matches to really help us prepare for June. And in addition to that, we've got the target of trying to get promoted out of League B. So with that, I think once the coaching staff have a good look at a number of players, so you see players in and out of the team, while at the same time trying to get results, I think you start to see a more solidified team and a more stable team once we get to November and we move into March and June next year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to take a quick commercial break, Mr. Weird. If you can stay with us, we want to talk about what the fans can expect in the 2-day matches.
Sure.
And we'll be right back.
Sure.
Over the pink sands, beneath the cloud blue sky, where the ocean meets the land, and the long tails fly in Bermuda. Our hearts belong to this beautiful island. As an island, we are strong, proudly Bermudian. In every single way, from the sunrise to the sunset, and every single day, for over 135 years, it's been clear. It's silence proudly Bermudian, bringing us near. Cause we are proudly Bermudian. This silence proudly Bermudian. This silence proudly Bermudian.
Putting down the weapons.
You seen this?
For generations, John Barrett & Sons has been a part of our family's table, and now they're bringing something new for yours. Discover Wonder Juice at Lindo's, a refreshing organic burst of flavor delivered with the same care Barrett's has given Bermuda for over 150 years. Cold pressed, pure, and full of nutrients, just like the fresh fruit juices we grew up loving. From Wonder Melon to Wonder Beet, it's that familiar Barrett's touch, now with a wholesome twist. Lindo's, why go anyplace else?
And welcome back. Well, Mr. Wade, from a fan standpoint, what can one expect for game day? I guess the gates would open 1:30 or 12 o'clock for the first match, and then
Yeah. So
it's a long day at the stadium.
yeah, it's a long day. So gates will open at 12:30, 2 hours before kickoff. And what will happen after the first match, we'll be able to provide the fans who want to stay or want to come back for the second match. We'll provide them with some wristbands so they can go and come back. Fans can expect to see, really, as usual, we try to provide an atmosphere where the team can perform and get us a good result. So fans can expect to see that. The stadium pitch is looking very, very good. So we're really geared up for it. And we're hoping to see, a lot of fans in the stadium. The more fans, the better,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we have a question. Is there any work being done now to ensure the continued interest in the game for the players in the under 14 team?
Well, I mean, for the under 14 team, we've got to, prepare for their preparation for next year, right? So we've got just over 10 months to prepare for the under 15 championships. And our programming will continue. The same programming that prepared them for the under 14 championship will continue with that as well. We're just starting to investigate little opportunities for them individually. There are some players who we're trying to get some training experience opportunities, so you may see something like that arise. And depending on the budgetary constraints, we'll see if we can get them some kind of training tour as well.
Well, I guess you're watching, Mark, with all what's going on with the national program, how you guys are reviving it, and like on the 14th, which is also, I think, to applaud you on that result and how the result was achieved. So with so many young players leaving the country early at 14, it must be, I won't call it a headache, but in charge, finding, keeping tabs on them. Some of them leaving the country at 12 and 13 now. And so has that posed issues for you in terms of selection? I think, and staying in contact with them. How often do you guys stay in contact, especially at that age?
Yeah, no, it does pose a problem. Just being able to stay in contact. We certainly do rely on the parents quite a bit to keep us informed of, how they're doing, where they are. Sometimes we can get a coach over to see them and just make contact with them just to touch base. But it is very, very difficult. A lot of them are in the UK. Yes, it's a flight away, but it is a 6-hour flight away. So it presents its own challenge. On the one hand, we're very happy to see them off, looking for opportunities within the professional game. But we do our best to keep an eye on them. Most times, what we do is over the Christmas break, we do have a Christmas camp, and we have Christmas camp for a number of age groups because a lot of them come back for Christmas, and we take advantage of that opportunity as well.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't going to let you go anywhere without mentioning on the local front. The news has surfaced that BAA had pulled out of the first division. Got to be quite concerning for the association because this is not the first time this particular club has actually pulled out due to lack of players.
Yeah, it's concerning. It's also very disappointing. We try and assist clubs the best way we can. We try and make sure our clubs are vibrant and they are able to sustain themselves. We obviously want to have BAA in the league. Obviously, they are one of our member clubs, so we'll obviously have some discussions with them to look forward to next year, and perhaps there's an opportunity for them to regroup. Maybe there are some players that are going to graduate into their senior program. Some players who then turn 16, for example, and maybe they have enough players to do what's required to make it into the league next year. But yes, very concerning and disappointing as well.
Yeah. And can you clear up the air with the Island Rangers not being involved in the league this year?
Sure. Island Rangers wrote back to us very early to say that they didn't think they couldn't field the team either in terms of just looking at the commitment from their players. Thankfully, they were early enough that competitions were able to produce a schedule because they were so proactive. So we're very happy with that. I think Island Rangers presents a different challenge. Being in Dockyard in the Parish of Sands and having competition from Somerset and Somerset Eagles for players, that's a different challenge. And we're hopeful perhaps that they find a formula that they can return back to the league as well.
Sure. Well, I guess on the plus side, it helps scheduling. Well, not scheduling, but helps referees become available. As you would only have maybe 2 first division games each week now. If the schedule stays the same, the team would just get a bye that would have been playing BAA.
Yeah, I guess that's your effort at finding the silver lining. Um, but for us, football is about the players, right? They're the stars of the show, and if we've got now a bunch of players in the West End who don't have an opportunity to play, that's concerning. I think the referees is one thing. We've got a formula that we have that's working for the referees as we're growing the pool. But for me, my concern is always going to be the players.
Uh-huh. I like to ask you also when Earl was saying the concern of teams like Island Rangers dropping out, youth programs in those clubs like Somerset Eagles, what else? Southampton Rangers.
hmm
I don't know, or I don't know if they have youth programs. Do they?
So Southampton Rangers, I believe, have an under 13 team. I could be wrong, but I believe they do. Part of our club licensing initiative definitely encourages clubs to start a youth program. So you will see, things in that regard where, like, sort of Hamilton Parish, for example, have enough players to enter into the under five um, age group to see Hamilton Parish kind of rejuvenate and ready to jump in if our youth team is exciting. But we do want all of our clubs to have youth programs. Um, but the realities of where we are in Bermuda um, has to be taken into account. Um, the number of Bermudians who have left the country, fluctuates. Some say as high as 3,000 people. Some say lower than that. But that's going to have an impact on football and have an impact on how many young people we have. Um, I think we have to be cognizant of the fact that we're closing schools. That's all indicative of having less and less young people and less players. Um, so unless we're gonna start to have our young people having more babies, I think we're gonna be in this space for a few more years.
Yeah, understood.
Well, Mr. Wade, I want to thank you very much for your time. We look forward to seeing Bermuda in action. I believe it's next week.
Saturday.
Saturday? Yes,
Yep.
next week, Saturday. And then it's FA Cup first round, preliminary round on Sunday. And we'll be back with another edition of the Island Stat Football Show next week, Sunday at 6 o'clock. Hopefully, we can be joined by the head coach of the national team, Mr. Finley, to discuss where we go from whatever happens on Saturday.
Sure, and I'm sure he'll be delighted to be on the show as well.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, Punchy, thank you very much for joining, folks. Have a
Thanks
good
a lot,
night.
Mark.
We'll be back
Thank
next
you,
week.
Mark.
All right, thanks everybody. All right, bye-bye.
Okay.